be a mixed bag because I am totally going outside my comfort zone and we're gonna be making a bag. So let's see how this goes. So if you've seen my other videos, you know that making bags might not be my forte. Last year, I did a bag where I made a Quilt As You Go bag. It had a ton of mistakes, but we published the video anyway. So today we're gonna try a much easier bag using a new crochet panel by Holt, and it's gonna go perfectly, right? So this panel came into the shop and I love it so much. It's the Happy Crochet Bag. It's actually the second one that Lori's designed. It's on like a home deck fabric that's thicker than cotton, but not too thick. And with each panel, you could actually make 2 bags. Today I'm going to show you how to make one. And I'm going to be using the Happy Zipper 2 that go with the bag, and you can mix and match whichever zipper you like. So let's first talk about the panel. It's really big. It's 35 inches wide by 54 inches across. And there are instructions here, right here, to make the large bag. The large bag, all your pieces are right here. So let's talk about the large bag first. Lori has these written where it says front and back. And so the way she's designed this bag is this is on the front on one side and this is the back on the other side right here. These are your inside pieces. These 2 pieces, you only need one of them. It'll make your little holder right here. But you can mix and match. All these are the same sizes. So technically you could have, these is your outsides, these is your insides. You can do it however you want. And here are the instructions to make the large bag. Now, if you want, you can scan this QR code and that will take you to Lori's video, which shows you how to make both bags. Today, I'm gonna be making the small bag because I'm just doing it to attempt it. Now, if you look at the bottom right, these are your fabrics for your small bag. She has these 2 designed to be your outsides. These is your insides, and then these as your tags that go on the side. Now, this is what the outside of the bag looks like, and here's your instructions. So we're gonna take this panel, we're gonna cut it up, and we're gonna see what kind of bag I can make today. So I wanted to let you know, here are the instructions. I'm gonna be doing things a little bit differently because my friend Teresa has helped me out and she's given me some tips. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut each of these out. But instead of cutting on the dotted line, I'm gonna cut slightly outside, like maybe 1/4 of an inch away. I'm gonna cut these 4 out and 1 of these. And I think the green looks better, so I'm just gonna cut a little bit outside. I'm gonna use my rotary cutter, but you could also use your scissors. So I got everything cut out and I have it ironed. I didn't use starch because this is a home deck fabric. I don't think it needs it. Now you'll see some of this I left 1/2 inch around, some of it I left 1/4 inch around. It kind of just depended how much space I had. I did want to leave the words just to make it easy for myself and I could remember where I was at. We're going to be working on one side of the bag. So I'm going to put this on the front and this on the inside of the front. And I'm going to put these 3 aside for now. So I love to use By Annie's Soft and Stable product. She actually came and filmed with us years ago and I love this product. It's very easy to quilt through and it really will make your bag stand up. Now you can also use batting. If you watch Lori's video, she just used 80-20 batting. I'm gonna use the Soft and Stable. You can try whichever one you want. I will say that quilting turns out very nice on the Soft and Stable because it comes out very detailed. Now today I'm not gonna be doing quilting on my bag, but I just want you to try it one time because I know you will love the product. So this is actually from my stash. It's just a leftover piece. This is not how it comes. It actually comes in lots of different sizes. So you can decide what size you want to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front on one side and the back on the other. But you're probably thinking, how am I going to get that to line up? So what I'm going to do is on the front side, I'm going to put pins in these corners where the red is and that line, and adding the extra dimension to the outside is going to give you a little bit more flexibility later. So it might be a little bit different than how Lori did it, but that's okay. So then you're going to turn this over, pull these through, don't poke yourself, and then we're going to add this to the other side. So if you cut right on the line, obviously you wouldn't have to do this. So now that I have that done, what I'm going to do is remove these and I'm going to put pins throughout. And I'm going to put the pins on the inside because I'm going to show you, I'm going to stitch around the outside. And when I stitch around the outside, that's going to give it some stability. So now that I have this pinned, like I said, I'm not going to do any quilting because I think it's really cute and I don't want to mess up the design of the chunky thread. I think it's super cute like it is. So when I'm stitching around the edge, I'm not going to use a basting stitch that's super long, and I'm not going to use my normal stitch length, which is small. I'm going to use somewhere in between there just so that it can quilt really nicely. And I'm going to stitch from this side just because that's where I put my pins. So you can see my stitches, and I stitched on the back side. I probably should have done that in reverse and stitched on the front side, but in the end, I think you'll see it won't matter. So we're gonna turn this to the front, and since the front of the bag is gonna be more visible, we're gonna cut on the front. And what I'm gonna do is cut a 1/4 inch from the red dotted line on all sides. So we have one side of our bag done. This is the other side. Now this is going to be the outside, this is going to be the inside. I'm going to repeat the same exact step and I'll come back when that's done. So we're going to be working with one side of the bag. So I'm going to pick this side, I'm going to pick the front, and I have my zipper, and this is the front side of the zipper, or the top of the zipper. I'm going to put that right side down, and I am going to leave an overhang on each side. And I'm going to show you a trick that Annie taught me. What I'm going to do is just use my regular foot. I'm not using a zipper foot or anything fancy, and I'm just going to start out here. I'm going to go across. When I get to about right here, this gets bumpy and I don't want that to be crooked. So at that point, I'm going to move the zippers over here and keep stitching, and then I'll move the zippers back. And when you see me do it, it'll make more sense. So from here, I have my needle down, move my zipper back, and keep stitching. There's plenty of room on this zipper tape for me to just move my stitch over a little bit, and I will cover that up. So here's my zipper. How many times did it take me to get rid of that red line? Oh, maybe 4 or 5. Here it is. It actually looks really nice and straight. The most important thing is you want it to be straight. You want it to just be across. Now, originally I was supposed to do a 1/4 inch seam, and I didn't do a big enough seam. But as long as you don't see the red dots, you should be good to go. So from here, you want to press, and the zipper, it's not going to hurt it at all if you press it. And that's just going to get it really nice and flat before we go to the next step. Okay, so now that I pressed this out, and yeah, I do see a little curve. It's okay, we're gonna pretend we don't see that. I'm gonna do a top stitch right here on the pink and just go straight across using a top stitch. So I have this pressed, and the way that I have this pressed is where the back of the zipper is face down, and I'm gonna top stitch on the pink, maybe 1/8 of an inch away, and that's gonna secure the zipper on the back. And yes, you will be able to see all these stitches when you open your bag, but we're just gonna pretend that we don't see that, and we're also gonna pretend that we don't see the little curve going right here. So you can see my stitch that secures this zipper. And what I'm gonna do is I also want the bottom of the zipper to be secure, so I'm gonna do another stitch just a little bit down from that so that we have 2 stitches at the top. So from here, I am gonna cut just any loose threads off, and then we're gonna add to the other side, the other panel. And what we're gonna do here is, this is the outside and this is the outside. So we're gonna put these right sides together. I'm going to wonder clip this down. And since I did that really tight seam on the first one, I'm gonna do the same thing. And since I have these out here, I won't have to worry about that getting in the way. We just need to remember before we trim this off that these need to go back to the center. So I'm just gonna go all the way across. Okay, so I did want to point out this is a directional fabric. So if you look at it, when you open your bag, you can see that I have the little women go in the right direction. Just make sure you have that go in the right direction before you sew this down. Okay, so since I have a Hot Mess Express over here, you know, we have the same thing going on over here. And the reason why is because I was so skitty on this side, I really wanted it to be even on this side. So then what I'm gonna do is take this and press it where this blue zipper is coming to the back. So it looks like this, nice and flat. And I'm gonna come along and do a top stitch right on the edge, and then I'm gonna do another top stitch just right next to it. And when I get both of those top stitches done, it's gonna just lay nice and flat and not floppy. So now we have part of the bag done. And what I wanted to point out is we have a straight edge here, and you can see that right here, but here it's not straight. So the first thing you want to do before anything is move both of the zipper pulls to the inside. And then I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to tack down over here a couple of times. Just go back and forth over here, and then I'm going to trim it down. So since this is not perfectly even, I'm going to move these just a little bit out of the way of my ruler. And I want this to just be nice and straight. So I'm going to trim right here. And when I trim, you can see that my tack down that I did to keep the zipper intact is still there. I'm going to go to the other side, move my zippers over, and since I've tacked that down, my zipper won't come off the end. I'm going to get this nice and straight. And just for kicks, because the inside you do see raw edges, I'm gonna trim right here just to get any kind of loose threads off and to make sure it's at the right angle. And here you could sew your bag together just like it is, or you can add the tag. I'm gonna add the tag, and I'm gonna show you how to do that with this piece of fabric. So the first thing I want to do is I am just going to trim about 1/4 inch away from the long edge on both sides, just so that it's nice and even. And then we're going to go to the iron. So I like to use the hot hammer anytime I am doing anything like this. So I'm going to put wrong sides together and press. And that gives you a nice fold, but if you put this hot hammer right in the inside and get it nice and folded and kind of force it a little bit, that's going to give you a nicer fold. Then you're going to fold this to the inside, and when you do that, you can actually use this. Do the same thing on the other side. This just makes sure it's nice and straight. Now from here, we're going to fold this in, do one last press. Now from here, I'm going to stitch right along the edge of both sides. Obviously, you wouldn't have to do the folded side, but it's going to look a lot nicer if you do. And I'm going to start with the open side first and just put straight stitches on both edges. And this hasn't been trimmed up. We're going to do that in a little bit. So once you get this done, you'll usually have one side that looks better than the other. Just kind of keep that in mind. I think this side looks better. So I'm going to fold this together, and I'm going to trim this off where there's just very little showing. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to tack this down a couple of times. So now I'm going to put the tag on the bag. And I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put it on this side of the bag. You could also put it on this side, either one. And you could put it here, here. You could really put it anywhere. I'm just going to go and make it even with the words right here. And I'm going to go right over that edge again, making sure that it is not more than 1/4 inch away because I don't want that to show in the seam. So I'm just going to be tacking it right on the edge. So from here, you want to open this so that when you flip your bag out, you have somewhere to flip it open from. And since you have this secure, you should be fine. What I like to do when I'm doing bags is you want to turn this over and you want that to be flat so that when you line up and sew this, your zipper is even at the front. So that's the most important thing. On both sides, get the zipper even. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this a little bit differently than you've probably seen before, and I learned this from Annie. I'm going to start at the top, I'm going to back stitch, and I'm going to go all the way to the end and back stitch. I'm going to do that on both sides before I sew the bottom. Okay, so I sewed this, and of course I've got that red line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm just going to trim a little bit off. And then I'm gonna go back and do a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so I've made sure the edges look good and that I don't have any red lines. And the reason I did that is I knew I would have that. And it would be hard to fix that once you have it already sewn together and flipped out. You'd have to reflip that back out. Then what I want to do is take the ruler and put it on the edge and just make sure this is a straight line so that you have nice 90-degree angles. If it wasn't straight, I would trim it up. Put some more Wonder Clips and sew all the way across the bottom from edge to edge. So from here, we've sewn this stitch. Now I'm going to flip the bag out and hopefully we will have a nice pretty bag. And you can see it's stiff, and it's because we use the Soft and Stable. If you wanted it to not be as stiff, you could use regular batting. Okay, so from here, I'm going to use this point turner. These kind of scare me a little bit, but I'm going to use the curved side so that I don't poke anything out and hope that I can get this pushed out a little bit. Of course, if you wanted to, you could have just done a curve. I think I just naturally got one. But then here, you really have to press this out. So this is my bag when it's done, and I wanted to show you on the inside there are raw edges. So you see raw edges here and around the edge. If you want to, you could do like a zigzag stitch just to make that not ravelly. To me, it doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but that's something you could add if you wanted to. You could do curved corners. Mine kind of just came out curved, and your zipper should technically look a lot better than this. But you know what? When I'm making a bag, as long as the zipper works, I'm good to go. So I'm so excited I made the small Happy Crochet Bag. It does have a couple of flaws, but only I'm gonna see them, and so totally fine. But this is the other bag that comes with the panel. The instructions are on the panel. So I just wanted to show you the quilting that Teresa did. She added quilting because this bag is bigger and it does need quilting to be able to hold the shape where the small one didn't. And she just drew lines and did straight quilting where there was 3 chunky thread balls within each little section. I would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you click like and click the little button to be notified when we have new videos, and I'll see you next time.